got a chrome thingamajigger. What's that called? Thermostat housing. So, it's power steering. There's no pump. You know, whatever. So, this thing has just been sitting on there. You can tell by all the poop on top of the secondaries. Ooh, HD baby. Too nice of a car. So, well, too nice. Anyway. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. It's been a little while since I've made a video because life. However, we're back in the garage and we're not working on this. I figured the best thing to do, since this was taking forever and it was a lot of work and a lot of money, was to buy another project. Accidentally. A buddy of mine said he knew a guy that had an Oldsmobile big block. That's what I wanted. I said, sure. He said, well, it comes with the car. So I got this whole car. This car is roached, trashed out. The whole roof is pretty much gone. All that, the A-pillar's pretty much gone. Can't tell how the cowl is. Doors are rotted, fenders are rotted, core support's rotted, hood is rotted. Quarter panels are weirdly okay. Bottom's got a little bit of smooth. Rear window channel's gone, yada, 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 yada. The car is pretty much junk. It's a 71 Cutlass. I didn't say that yet. It's a 71 Cutlass. I'm not going to say it's just a regular Cutlass. He says it's a big block in it. I don't know anything about Oldsmobile engines, so I don't know if that's a big block. We're going to find out. We're going to get some numbers off of it. The car is very rough. It's technically complete. It's got interior. It's got a column or a console shift. Nothing fancy. It's got a nice steering wheel in it though. The seats are gone, floors are gone. He actually has a floor patch right there for it. Can't get the trunk open. It's got some nice rally rims on it though, so that's pretty cool. They're 15s, which is good for me. Anyway, we're gonna try to get this thing to run and drive for poops and giggles to make sure the engine is good and the transmission is good. I bought it for the drivetrain end of it. He says there's a Podge in the rear end. Haven't confirmed. It doesn't want to roll. I don't know if the shifter won't move. It's stuck what it says in drive, but I don't know. Anywho, the plan is just see if this thing can run. If it'll run, we'll see if it'll putter around. It looks like someone had started working on it because there's just a little things, you know, it's got a new fuel hose going right there. It's got a chrome thingamajigger. What's that called? Thermostat housing. It's got an HEI distributor in it. It was an AC car, but manual brakes over there. It's power steering, there's no pump, but, you know, whatever. So I don't even know if this engine came in here. I don't know anything about this car. The guy I got it from knows nothing about it. He was told to scrap it and he didn't want to scrap it because it was too nice of a car. So, well, too nice. Anyway, we're just gonna see if this thing runs. It's got oil in it and I know it turns over by hand. So we're gonna see what we can do to get this thing running. I got a key for it and the wiring, I don't know, appears to be there. So we'll see. Yeah, let's just jump in this thing and see what we can do. First, I want to get the numbers off the back of it and see what we got, and then we'll go from there. So let's jump to it. All right, so after some digging, see the numbers down there, 396,021F, which according to the Google is a 455 Oldsmobile big block. So that's neat. That's good. He wasn't lying. It is a big block. All right, first order of business to get this thing in park because the shifter says it's stuck in drive. I think it's just the shifter itself because I disconnected the cable and it moves fine. So it's something either in the cable and the shifter. But if you need any other reasoning why I say this car is toast, somebody had undercoated it and apparently it didn't help. It was too late or I don't know, but everything is eating up under here except for the rockers. Weird. That's bad. That's not great. Anyway. It's in park. So let's see what happens when we hook a battery to it. It's got an HEI, It's got an HEI distributor. So you know that's fine. That's gonna work for sure. So let's just throw a battery in. It's got oil, transmission fluids in there. It doesn't have a radiator. So the transmission lines are disconnected. Apparently a tow truck driver hooked a strap to that. So it bent the core support, which is sad because the core support's not off. It was in decent shape. So we're gonna hook this up. That was gross. And I'm just gonna see what happens. See if it turns over at all, or if we have some wiring issues. So let's see what happens. All right, after some persuasion with the vice grips, I got the fuel line off. It's got a new fuel rubber hose on it, but connects into the original. And I smelled the tank and it made me want to die. So the fuel that's in there is disgusting. But that's what starter fluid is for, I think. So we're gonna get some starter fluid. This thing has a, what does it say, Jones Performance? So it's definitely an aftermarket or a rebuilt Quadrajet. So that's good. There's hope, I guess. This thing has just been sitting on there, you can tell by all the poop on top of the secondaries. So I'm gonna grab some starter fluid and we're gonna jump in here and see if she does anything. I haven't cooked the battery all the way up because I'm scared. But let me go grab the starting fluid. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's see. What am I stuck on? Pause. All right, let's hook this thing up and hope for the best. No sparkles, that's good. Not a huge fan of how close this terminal is to the side of the truck. Car, whatever you're gonna call it. All right, let's hit it with some starter fluid and hope for the best. Try and see what happens, if anything. Well, that was easy. Okay, so that was obnoxiously easy. Got 11 HEI distributor. So what we're gonna do now that we know that it has life, I got a little bit of two-strokey right here. I'm gonna fill the float bowl with it and pour a little down the throat. See if we can get to actually run, and then it'll see if that thing pumps or if it's just dead. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Either way. Do we have accelerator pumpage? A little bit. Let's see if anything happens. Is that coolant? That would be engine oil. Pause. Okay, crisis avoided. Someone at some point had put an oil pressure gauge right here, and the teat was still there, but there was nothing connected to it, and there was actually geysering up through there. I couldn't see that. All I saw was this bung covered in oil, and I thought we blew a head gasket or something catastrophic. I put a plug in it, so hopefully it won't do that any longer. Let's try this again. See what happens. Does she need a snort? That's enough. I don't know. What happened? Why you don't like it no more? Need too much? Did I do too much? Chance for that, for sure. Let me get out the meter. Make sure we still got power to the HEI. I mean, other than having an obnoxious gap, it doesn't look bad. Easy dildo. It was very loose though. It was kind of fingerish. It was a little more than finger tight, but I'll go through and double check it. I might start pulling these plugs and checking these gaps because that looks a little redonkulous. But we are going to plug this in and see. Stop doing that. We are going to plug this in and see if we're going to spark. So let's try that real quick. All right, so took the cable off, cleaned it, put that back on, put the battery charger on for a minute. Pulled all the spark plugs out. They're all a little loose and had very big gaps for some weird reason, but they all looked okay. So let's try this again. See what happens. Figured out part of our problem here. It's carburetor, right? If you look down in there, at least this side is packed full of junk. So that could be part of our problem. Ah! Full of gas. Anywho, so we're gonna swap this out for this one, which is the one that was originally on the black Pontiac. I had it rebuilt. It was one that was on there when I got the car. But it ran like garbage because cartridges are finicky unless you know what you're doing, which clearly I don't. So this one's still good. It's, you know, clean. So we're gonna swap this one on. It's the exact same thing, so it should bolt on no problem. And we'll hit it with some fuel and see what happens then. So I'm gonna switch over some of these little vacuum caps and we will jump on it. All right, new carb is on there. Jumper heads are hooked up, so let's see what she's got. It. Alright, so I got sick of spraying stuff, so I rigged up a little baby jerry can with a pump into the engine here. I've got accelerator pump. Let's just see if I'm not giving her enough fuel, hopefully. Neutral safety switch keeps shifting around on it. Well, it's in reverse. Thank goodness I had a wheel chock back there because it was definitely in reverse. But it runs, thank the good Lord. It actually runs. I guess I just wasn't giving enough fuel. I just put all of it in there. Either way, it works. It's in reverse, so that's weird. I gotta figure that out. It started in reverse. This is strange. Anyway, not worried about the transmission right now. Transmission moves. That's a good sign. Oh, transmission is also pumping, as you can see. Sweet, well, it works. I got no fuel out of there. I don't know if there's anything in the tank. All I have is this, which I'm pretty sure is empty now. So I'll have to get some fuel and dump it in the tank, see what happens. I have a radiator that'll fit and that'll hook up to those two. That's a problem. So let's see. I want to see if I can get this thing to crunch back down. Apparently a tow truck dropped it off at this guy's house that I picked it up from, and this is how it was. So clearly you can tell what they did. So I'm gonna see if I can kick this back down. And if we can get that down, we'll kick the radiator in. I gotta pull that out because that's disgusting. I'm hoping it's just the stuff above the thermostat. It has no belts, so that could be an issue. A little smoky. Ah! That, when I loaded off the trailer, the tips dug into the ground. That's must have been what was in it. So that's cool. So let's see if we can beat this back straight-ish, so we can plop a radiator in this thing. If we can fill this with coolant. I'll get a full jug of gas, and we'll get this thing like running. That'd be pretty cool. I just want to see if this thing moves under its own power, which it clearly does. It did a burnout trying to jump the wheel chuck. Ooh, I'm scared to open that. We'll deal with that in a minute. Let's see if we can get this down so we can get this thing to freaking idle. So let's go. All right, after being a little creative with a ratchet strap and a hammer, this is the best I got. Kind of fits. I got some very high strength hold downs. The trans line's hooked up and the lower line hooks up. I don't have an upper. I have to pick one up tomorrow. I am gonna pull this off and clean this out and pray that it's just, you know, just right there. And then we gotta deal with heater hose, wherever the heck Oldsmobile puts the other one. I'm assuming on the back of the block somewhere. So let's pull this off. See how bad a shape we're in. Probably just throw the thermostat out for now. We don't need one. See if we can clean this up, put that back on. I have a temp gauge, as luck would have it. So we'll put that in there. We know we have oil pressure because gotta figure out the neutral or the reverse thing. That's weird. It's in reverse. And then, yeah, then we gotta get some gas. We'll rig up this fuel system and we'll go from there. I might hook it up to here and see if it draws through, but we'll deal with that in a little bit. Let's get this off, put the gauge on, cap that off. Let's jump to it. All right, so we've got low radiator, trans lines. I need to get an upper line, I need to get belts. And after the heaviest schmoozing of RTV they have, I've got this thing sort of cleaned and back on. I would replace it, but no one has one in stock, and I also don't care. So I'm gonna pick an upper hose tomorrow and a belt tomorrow and fill up my gas can. And we, my friends and family, we will get this thing running under its own feet. I got the rear tires hold air, so I gotta fill those up. The front tires are shot. They're completely junk. However, that's the axle out of this car. So that should bolt up to here, and those two tires hold air. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap these tires. Oh my gracious. Because theoretically, we should be able to run this thing. So I'm gonna throw those on, and then I gotta climb up in here and figure out what's going on with the shifter, because it's in reverse somehow. And then we'll get the belts tomorrow and the radiator hose, and we'll go to town. I am gonna flush this thing, obviously. Before I fill it with coolant, I'll just stick the hose in there and we'll go from there. So, oh, fart, and then we gotta deal with brakes. Meh, we'll deal with that in a minute. I'm gonna get these tires on, and then I can get up under here and check for the shifter issue problems. So, let's go. Alrighty, well, as luck would have it, this thing has a freaking lock nut on it. I honestly haven't even looked in the car. I'm not going to. The other sides is missing, so I'm guessing we're taking them off, but I'm gonna show you how to pop these things off fairly quick and easy if you don't have the key. Get you a socket that just barely starts to fit on it. Hammer it on. And take it off. You're gonna have to hammer the crap out of this thing to get it out of here, but it's out. So, nail this off. I'm gonna jack this thing the rest of the way up and take these tires off, and we'll swap in some rollers. All right, front tires are on. Make sure they spin while they're off the ground. This tire is locked up, which you can't tell. The back one over there spins, so this one's locked up, so we're gonna deal with this one. I got off the ground, I'm gonna pull the tire off real quick and see if we can't free up the brakes. And then we still gotta crawl under here and gabagoo whatever going on with the transmission. So I'm gonna pull this one off, which also has a friggin' lock nut, and then we'll see what the rear brakes look like. So let's jump to it. Ugh. That's disgusting. I don't think those are good, you know what I'm saying? Ah! Yeah. Those aren't necessarily good, you know? Ooh! HD, baby. Yeah, I'm not really super concerned, you know what I'm saying? The odds of this thing having brakes at all are negative, so let's just kill that one, I guess. Oh well. Stick the drum back on because I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? At least it spins now. And if it locks up, it locks up. I'm not concerned about that. This thing's not hitting the highway. However, this thing is leaking around the bead, so I'm gonna go ahead and bust this bead and put some goop in it, so that we can keep these tires inflated. I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, so that door not opening. Window's down. Door went open. You hear the linkage moving, and the tab seems to be pulled up, but I don't know. Don't care enough to deal with that. Good news. Center console I got out, and I got the shifter to move. It was just kind of rusty and stuck. After a healthy dose of the W, and a very nice column, or console, to be honest with you. Even the wood grain's still there. But I got that to move. I have drowned it in WD, but I unhooked it from the transmission, so now I gotta go back under there, make sure she's in park, which apparently she's not, and hook the shifter back up, and we'll be in business once I get, coolant stuff and gasoline. So I'm gonna crawl into here, hook this thing back up. Tomorrow I'm gonna grab all the parts I need. And we should be able to make this thing run and drive. The only bad news is, curiosity got the better of me, and I hit the brake pedal, and that went about as well as you'd expect it to. Well, actually it's moving now. It was floppy 5 seconds ago, but it has a spring on it, so I don't know. I'm not even gonna open the thing right now. I'm gonna crawl into here, hook this back up, and we will pick it up tomorrow. So let's jump into it. All right, so new day, new parts, wrong parts. I don't know what it is with parts stores. They just cannot seem to get correct parts anymore. But we got a hose that technically fits. I've got an oil filter. I'm gonna change the oil in this thing. Belt is wrong. These are some belts I had. That's one I ordered, wrong one. So we're gonna try round 2 tomorrow for our belt. What we're gonna do now is pull this hose off here. I got a couple gallons of fuel I'm gonna put in the tank, and we're gonna see if we can suck some through here and see what this tank looks like. I'm gonna put my little pump on it and see what we can get out of it. And we'll see if that works. Hopefully it'll work. So I'm gonna pull this off, and then we'll get the pump hooked up and pour a couple gallons of tank and see what it does. So let's jump to it. All right, I got the pump hooked up, about a gallon or so of fuel in the tank. The tank reeks. So let's see if anything comes out. And if it does, what's it look like? Well, I have tried everything I can to get fuel from the tank. I even pressurized the tank, and it must just be nothing but junk in the bottom there. I got 2 drips of red colored fluid come out. So I've got my little 1 gallon tank right here with the pump in it. I still don't have a belt. My water neck is leaking coolant. I don't have any brakes, but I wanna move this thing. So I'm gonna see if I can get the fire up and idle. And if it'll idle, we're gonna pull it outside just to say we did. So let's see what happens. Runs good. Idling fine. I don't have a belt, so it's gonna overheat real quick. This is something in it. Man, I hate how rusty the roof of that is. If this roof wasn't rusty, I'd take it. Well, she runs. She moves. I hit the hoist because I can't see. But it's alive. It's alive. Now we're not done yet. I'm gonna get a belt. I'm gonna hunt down a water neck. That little added doodad is what kills me. It's not like a regular GM water neck. And we're gonna get this thing in good shape, in drivable shape. Brake pedal obviously went straight to the floor. I haven't even cracked open the master cylinder. But this thing is alive, you know? You know? Ooh. Now, is it worth fixing? To me, no. Like I said, I haven't really showed you guys. That's the inside of the roof. It's not in good shape. This whole roof is rotted out. All right here is junk. You can see is gone. There's a hole right there. You can see daylight. So the roof would have to be replaced. The window channels have to be replaced. The back window channel, all this is gone, which they make every panel for this car. I can rebuild this car from the ground up. That's rough. But it's a 71 Cutlass. At the end of the day, I've seen one on Facebook right now running and driving with the title for $7,000. So at the end of the day, not really worth it. But we're not done yet. I'm talking like it's the end of the video. It's not the end of the video. I'm gonna get a belt for this thing so we can actually let it run. I'm gonna order a water neck right now so it can come in soon. And we will get this thing, at a minimum, running around out here. So let me get online, order some parts, and we'll get back to it. All right, it's a new day. We got some new parts and some new problems. One, we got a belt. I got a thermostat housing. Great. I got OCD and put the tires that were on the black rims back on these rims because I like them. And if you remember yesterday, fired it up yesterday, 2 seconds ago, fired it up, pulled it out of the garage, backed it back in for poops and giggles. After I parked it, there was a river of coolant coming out the back of this motor. If you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to, get you in there real nice like. See that little stain right there? That's coolant. It's been trickling down the head out of a freeze plug right there on the bottom of the head. So, we got a bad freeze plug. what to do. What to do. Because can't get to it. The header definitely blocks it. Pull the header off. And if I pull the inner fender out, you can see it. I can see it from underneath, which certainly can't get to it. My best bet is gonna be a rubber expansion plug, because I'm not pulling this motor for a freeze plug. So I'm gonna get me a rubber expansion plug, and we're gonna see if we can pull the starter out. You can see it a little bit from the bottom. See if we can pound that one out from the bottom. And then we'll pick up a plug tomorrow and see what we can do. So I got this thing up on jack stands. We're gonna rip the starter out and see what there is to see, I guess. Also, while we're around here, I'm gonna do an oil change because I got a filter and some oil. So let's get to it, I guess. Let's go. All right, we got the starter out. As you can see, there is the freeze plug culprit right there. And that is the header right next to it. I got about 1.5 inches between the two. So I'm gonna see if I can pound this thing out. The freeze plug is so rotted, so I have a bad feeling it's just gonna rip into pieces. And we'll see if we can wiggle this thing out. Also, I know there's gonna be water behind that. So that's fun. But it is what it is. We're gonna pound this thing out and see if we can't pull the pieces out and get a plug in there. So let's grab our hammer and get to it. All right, so after a literal hour, I have changed the oil and got the freeze plug out. This is all that's left of it. I barely tapped in it, punched the center into pieces. Which is kind of good because a lot of rusty chunks came out from behind it. I've cleaned the port real well. You can see I took the inner fender down. And you can see what we're dealing with back there. Cleaned out the port as best I could. I don't have anything. I've got this rubber expansion plug, but even bulging it 100 times its size, it almost fits. So I gotta go tomorrow, see if somebody has a freeze plug this size. If not, I'll get one of these because I just want to get this thing. I mean, obviously I'm not fixing this thing to put on the road, so I don't, if I can't get one of these, this will work for my purposes. And then we should be able to run this thing. So I'll pick one up. I'm gonna pick up probably 2 or 3. There's 4 of them in this machine, so I'll pick up 3, because if it's that one, there's no way I can get it out without blowing the motor because all that crap over there. So we'll put one in here tomorrow, hopefully, and we can finally get this thing to actually run. So let me grab a freeze plug and we'll get back at it. And we're back. We got the right freeze plug this time. Got an actual freeze plug. So we're gonna try to pound this thing in. Having some serious PTSD from the last 72 Cutlass green on green that had a blown freeze plug in the head. That one was easier to get to, but we're gonna put this in and then we are going to hopefully fire this thing up and let it run and see if we can get the temperature. I have a temp gauge on there, so we'll see what happens if it makes any more leaks. Let me struggle to throw this in and then we will get this thing fired up on the ground and outside. So let's roll. All right, freeze plugs in. I got the starter put back in. I bolted the inner fender back up. Spilling all the coolant. We're gonna fill this thing up. Hope it has no more leaks. See where that gets us. Yeah, top off the oil, top off transmission. And hopefully we'll be able to run this thing up to temperature, ideally. We'll find out. All right, we got coolant, we got oil, and we have ATF. So we should be good. We're gonna fire this thing up. We can check and see if the battery is charging with this alternator, and then I'm gonna let it run, see if it builds up the temperature. So let's see what it's got. died, but that's because the fuel pump came off the battery. Drank a good bit of coolant, so I'm gonna fill that up. I'm gonna double check the oil after doing the oil change. And then we'll fire it up and let it sit here and idle, see if it'll warm up. And then I'm also gonna check the battery. So let me grab some oil and some coolant and we'll fire back up. That alternator, I guess. It's a one-wire alternator, there's not much to it. She drank a lot more coffee. Let me go grab some more. Now she's running. I wouldn't say great. It's running. The battery's not charging. That's ridiculous. It's running. I don't see any leaks yet. It is young. Let it run for a little bit. Get out of it. Is that good or is that bad? Just gotta blow the cobwebs out of it, that's all. Alrighty, so after some long consideration, I have been looking at this car and I can't get over the fact that I want to fix it. Now it is bad. However, I cleaned out the interior and it's awful, you know, there's no floors anywhere. It did, however, have three, way back there, floor pans sitting in it. And they make every single panel for this car, every single thing. I fix everything, do whatever I want to, make this thing fix if I want to. I don't have a title, I'm working on it, but I don't have one right now. So my plan is for this car is I want to take it at least to the next step. I want brakes. We need a fuel tank. I got to get the seat out of the very forward position so I can fit in it and open the door. So we're going to go ahead and next step this thing and at least make it where I could drive it down the road. Because as of right now, it doesn't charge. It doesn't have brakes. It doesn't have, you know, a windshield you can see out of. So we're gonna do the last thing we're gonna do in this video today is I'm gonna clean this thing off. It's obviously been sitting out in someone's yard forever. I'm gonna blow everything off so we can really see how the cowl looks. I know the dash is a little rough. We're gonna pretend that doesn't exist. I don't even know if we're gonna fix this. I'm gonna at least make this thing drivable. If need be, if anything, it's easier to sell if you can drive it onto a trailer. So right now, I'm gonna get the air hose. We're gonna blow this off. I don't have a pressure washer. I really wish I did. We're gonna blow all this off and we're gonna inspect everything, get up under there, get in the frame, Can't open the trunk. I might drill that out. There's nothing in it. You can see through the speaker holes. But let's get this thing at least cleaned off where I can see out the window and see what we got. So let's jump in it. Well, it definitely didn't get better. It got, you know, worse. That's fine. But as of right now, that's where we're gonna end this video here. We've done a lot to it to get it running, which is great. The next step, we are gonna get this thing stopping, and I got a gas tank coming for it. So we are gonna jump into that next video when those parts show up. As of right now, I got nothing else to leave you with. We're gonna try to give this thing a little burnout real quick. So thank y'all for watching. As always, hit the like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.